Hi, folks, and welcome back to Money and Politics on Monday, March the 1st. Let me slip in the disclaimer, and you can pause and read that if you wish. But I wanted to rejoin you, number one, and just say thanks for so many views that we've had of late. You know, it was on Thursday, and that was the last day we traded before the reverse split. And the other thing is that was exactly 1 month. 1 month since I put out my first video, and I've just been overwhelmed by the response. We're approaching 5,000 subscribers. I frankly was thinking when I started this, it might take me 6 months to get 1,000 subscribers. And here we are knocking on the door of 5,000. So thank you. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for all the watch hours. Thank you for all your comments. And by the way, I'll forget if I don't say this up front. When I started, I didn't want to talk about just one stock. I wanted to do a lot on education and talk about other things to invest in. It just kind of happened that as I began, Humbl was emerging. And Humbl, I think, and I suspect you're going to agree with me, is one of the biggest stories out there. So I ended up doing probably about 80%, maybe even more, of all the things I talked about being about Humbl and the machinations. And obviously last week, big news with the reverse split. And then on Friday, we had the Zoom call with George Sharp and Brian Foote. So what I'm thinking of doing, and go ahead and leave me a comment if you would, what you think. You know, maybe what I'll try to do is still do the Humbl calls, or because I think people would want to hear about them. But maybe I'll do the Humbl update, but then perhaps separately do something else. And some of what I want to talk about is other things to buy. But the other thing I want to talk about are lessons. I really want you all to learn how to invest from these videos. And you can't squeeze everything into, one show. My sister, one of my sisters, said to me the other day, she goes, "You know so much and you want to share it all, and you try to shove so much in there." She was telling me maybe you should make them shorter and not go over so much. I don't know. It's hard for me to be objective about myself, so you can give me your feedback. But what I think I'll also do is I think I can break this up on YouTube to where you see, hey, here's Humbl videos, here's lessons on how to invest, and here's other things to look at. So that's what I'm looking at. I know, as I've said before, and I think we're all probably getting close to being pretty close to being up to date on why this was not a bad thing for the split and how the math worked out. But for those of you who are still confused, and I can tell from some of the comments I'm getting, there's still some confusion. Let me bring this up. And even if you understand the math, it's interesting to look at. On Thursday afternoon, that again was the last day we traded before we had the reverse split. So if you had 10,000 shares, as an illustration, you can crunch your own numbers. But if you had 10,000 shares on Thursday afternoon, that became 2,500 shares after the reverse split, and that's what you had as of Friday morning. Now, that first yellow line, we closed at 85 cents on Thursday. And so with 10,000 shares at the end of the close of the day on February 25, your 10,000 shares, 85 cents a share, was worth $8,500. Today, March 1st, you have 2,500 shares, and we closed at $5.98, which means that is now worth $14,950. How is that for growth? I mean, folks, that's $6,450 more than you had on Thursday afternoon. And this is Monday afternoon. Now, that's a heck of a weekend. Talk about a weekend at Bernie's. Well, we got the money for it now, don't we? That is remarkable. Now, you might say, well, that's because people are shorting the stock and they're getting trapped and whatever. I think it's because it might be because of shorts. I think that's probably some of it. But the other thing is, I think we have to say that it was good that the management of Humbl came out and did their Zoom call. You want transparency, and they were being transparent. And if you missed it, I did the story on Friday. In fact, that's now my #1 video, which is not surprising, but given that it was about the Zoom call on Friday. So that's gone up over 16,000 views in the last couple of days. But anyway, you want your management team to be transparent, and I appreciate George Sharp and Brian Foote putting that out. One of the things from that Zoom call, and I want to bring this up for you, is this is the timeline, and I'm going to take myself out of the shot here, but when we look, this is a freeze frame from the timeline that they presented in that call. You can see on the far left column, that was the fourth quarter of 2020. Then you got Q1, which is January, February, March. So this is the third month of the first quarter. We're just beginning. And so they did in 2020, in the fourth quarter, they did the merger with TSMP. They launched Humbl Studios. And they were pursuing merger and acquisition and country rights. Well, the merger and acquisitions paid off because we look at the bottom of column 2, which is the first quarter of this year. And for those of you new to investing, a quarter is 3 months. So at the bottom, you see the Tickery acquisition, which Brian Foote discussed in that call on Friday. They also requested, and we are going to get on March 26, the Humbl HMBL symbol. Once we have that, we're not changing anymore. That's permanent. The TSMP D is temporary. Now we got the launch of Humbl Financial. We got finalizing country rights. As Brian Foote was talking about, a lot of the holdup on certain things is financials. We got the second quarter, so the beginning April, May, June, we're going to have the Humbl mobile app, peer-to-peer ticketing integrations. I frankly I'm not informed enough to be able to talk intelligently on that, but that's what we'll be, I would say, integrating. They got the technology. It's probably bringing in the Tickery, which was a different company, and integrating it with Humbl. In a variety of ways, personnel, engineering, getting it on the app, etc. And then we'll have the audited company financials. I was married to a woman who did financials for a major corporation, and it's very involved. And when you are, unlike reporting, and I'll remind you, in my day job, I'm a reporter. There's a lot of sloppy reporting when you're covering things like news, like politics. I cover politics predominantly, which is one reason why I'm calling my program Money and Politics. But when you're talking about financials, you have to be right to the penny. This is not more or less good enough for government work. Makes a big difference if when you start reporting your earnings per share, you earned 8 cents, whether you earned 7 cents. I mean, when you extrapolate that over now 1 billion shares, you want to be pretty precise. So that we're going to have the audited financials coming out. We go to the third quarter there, key verticals, government, request for proposals, banking, wireless, and merchant partners. And then in the fourth quarter, that would be October, November, and December, we're going to have the shareholder conference, Humbl Affiliate Sales Market Leaders Award. So I guess which divisions of the company did the best. So that's where we are on that. If you missed it, now you're up to speed. Let's look at today. And This again, it says 5 days up there. It's really not. It's 2 days because it reflects TSNPD. And so we started trading. I don't know, this is kind of hard to manage this, but there we go. We started trading at $3.40, and that was Friday morning. And we went up. I was kind of worried about how that was going to go, but it worked out pretty well. We ended up being up 42% that day. And then you can see that today, we start Monday, we got up to $6.38, I think, and I apologize, I'm having a hard time managing this. If you saw why, you could see where we got up to $6.38, I think, and then we closed at $5.98. So that's where we are today, and that's about all I have for you right now. The thing I will tell you is the thing I've been telling you all along. If we have some down days, don't panic, man. Look at what you're getting. Look at the what you've achieved. You're up $6,450 since Thursday. Now, we are not going to be doing that all the time, just in case you're wondering. One other thing I just ran out of time to get this together, but some of you are saying that they don't know how to get their shares traded, but then when I've asked them, are you trying to sell? They say, no, I don't want to sell anything. So on one hand, it's a moot point. I know the dollars aren't showing up in Schwab, but if you, in my, I should say in the positions on Schwab, and I think it's the same on other platforms like E-Trade and Ameritrade. It just has a number. It still shows the number of shares you used to have, but it's not reflecting the share price. On Schwab, at least, which I use, if you go to the bottom and it has the quote box, if you put in TSNPD, it'll give you the price. That's number one. You can also go to Yahoo Finance and get the price. And that'll quote it. If you wanted to buy more and trade on Schwab, when you put that in the quote box, to the right, you'll see a little word where it says trade, and you click on that and you'll have the trading block. Or you can go to the top of the screen where it says trade and then go ahead and put in the TSNPD. Make sure you put the D as in David on the end, okay? And aside from that, I don't know, folks. It's not, I don't think it's Humbl that's holding this up. I think it's just the process here of these platforms like Schwab and Ameritrade and E-Trade, etc. And the one other thing I know has impacted Schwab, and I think it's impacted all of them, is the COVID. We're still dealing with people working from home. Things are not working as smoothly as they otherwise would. I know, for having been with Schwab for close to 30 years, if I called them up before, I mean, they would answer the phones right away. Now it doesn't work like that. Hopefully we're going to, shortly, we got Johnson & Johnson came out. That's another reason the market went up today. So we're going to be coming out of the COVID, and all of these people will be able to function, I think, much better in the weeks and months ahead. So that's it for now, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your comments. For the sake of YouTube videos, if you would give me a thumbs up. And in the meantime, I'll produce some other videos. We'll be talking about some other things. I got some good ideas for investing that I want you to learn. And I think they can be the kind of lessons that can serve you throughout the rest of your life. All right? So thanks so much, and we shall be talking to you again tomorrow. Take care.